What's going on, everyone? It's Wednesday, September 9th. I want to continue from where we left off last week, specifically speaking about the weekly RSI here, right around the 50 level. So just to kick it off, you could see that so far this week, it's Wednesday, so we're still in the middle of the week, have plenty of time to go as far as the close here. But so far, you can see that we came down to the 50 level that we were speaking about, and it seems that we're finding support here. So what does that tell us about upcoming price action, and how do we relate that to our previous cycle? So last time we were speaking about the previous cycle, which really was early 2016 or so. What we were trying to come to was finding support within this 50 region on the RSI, and eventually using that region to kick off our bull cycle. So again, it's still the middle of the week, but let's take a closer look as to what we've been doing so far this week. You can see that we did come up to test really right around the top of our C zone here, and we did find support, right at the top of our B zone, also around the 21 EMA here. So I do believe that this RSI can now, possibly take a step up, maybe towards the mid 60s, low 70 area. And I want to break that down on the daily here. So if we do get a test up in the RSI, and really quickly I want to mention we do have a little bit of divergence going on here on the daily, where we can see price action is obviously continuing towards the upside here, again on the RSI. Whereas price action itself on the chart is, somewhat in a downsloping fashion here. So we have somewhat, of a divergence going on. It's not, I wouldn't call it the most, strong divergence, but definitely something to think about as far as a move towards the upside. So you can see that we have our 21 and 55, gaining a down slope here. Looks like it's accelerating as well, and probably ready to cross within a couple of days or so, maybe over the weekend or maybe on Friday. So I just want to quickly, map out this neckline that we were speaking about last week as well, where we had our head and shoulders up top, and the break of the neckline was pretty solid, increasing volume as well. So I do think if Bitcoin is able to make it back up towards this 10.9, maybe 11,000 area, I do believe that there would be a decent amount of people, ready to sell this area short here, or maybe remove a little bit of their risk. Either way, I do think that there'll be, supply will be found somewhere around this 11,000 area. And like I said, we have a little bit of divergence going here on the daily, so I do think that we can definitely make it up to that area. And until we make it to that area, we don't really know what will happen afterwards. If Bitcoin somehow finds, for some reason, a lot of strength and buyers in this area, maybe we do continue past. But I don't believe that that's what Bitcoin is looking to do. But again, really, we have to wait until we get to this area to see what happens. So as of right now, I am considering this to be an area maybe for a short, or maybe to reduce risk, take profits, whatever it might be. As far as downside, you can see that really over this entire week, Bitcoin has been trying to, here on the daily, close below 10,000. Really every single day this past week, Bitcoin has tried to get below 9,000 and close there, but it really just has not been able to. Some people are considering some of these tests to be, pretty much like a gap fill as far as that CME gap that we were speaking about. We haven't made it down to that 9,600 region where, the gap really is, but, sometimes close enough is close enough as far as that goes. But I don't believe that that's what is going on. I believe that Bitcoin is just looking for some liquidity down there so far, and I do believe that it will continue back down to truly fill that gap and possibly go a little bit lower. So that's pretty much it as far as upside for now. Again, you can see really here on the daily as well that we have our 200 supporting price action. We have the top of our B zone here supporting price action. So I really would not be surprised if we're able to make it up to this 11,000 area. I just don't see that as being strength. I'm sorry, I don't believe as I don't see that as a strong move just right now. Again, if we get to that area and we see a lot of volume coming in, and maybe we're able to break past this 11.1 area with a little bit of ease, that would show a lot of buyer strength. But again, with this, with this down sloping 21 and 55 here on the daily, it is looking like we're probably gearing up to test a bit lower. And as far as the RSI, I am still waiting for single digits here on the daily. Even if we're unable to make it exactly 2 single digits, I would like to see, maybe a 10 read or somewhere around that, like at least a 12, 13 read would be a really positive sign for me as far as coming close to the bottom here. And, so really quickly, just to zoom back out on the weekly, like I was speaking about a little bit earlier, if we do make it up to that 11,000 area, I believe that the RSI on the weekly would come up, towards the high 60s area, maybe low 70s, but that we'd find some resistance there. And that's really the point where, it's kind of decision time for Bitcoin. I think a lot of people are going to be paying attention to this area. Looking for volume, looking for liquidity, whether it's buy liquidity or sell liquidity. So that's really the point where maybe I'll try to get on and give a quick update as far as what price action is looking like. So I do want to map out some downside targets as well here on the weekly. I believe that we spoke about maybe the downside target or the measured move from the head and shoulder. Bringing us down to the low 8,000s or so. But I want to go ahead and use a Fibonacci retracement as well, just so we can see maybe what other people are looking at and possibly how this Fibonacci came into our previous cycle as well. So, in our previous cycle here, I'm going to go ahead and map that out from the highs to the lows, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same for our previous 2016 cycle as well. And there is something interesting that happens here. So if we're using the high to the low from our previous structure, you could see that Bitcoin was pretty much able to make it to an exact 0.5 retracement. Again, it also happened to be the top of this ascending triangle region. So this ended up being, I believe, just a perfect region to play that 0.5 retracement. And if we go to current day, I just want to show, so we were speaking about, again, the lower 8,000s being, the measured move for that head and shoulder up top. And it also happens to be the, low range of my A zone here. And that actually also happens to be the 100 EMA on the weekly as well. So this 8,000 area really is looking like a definite possibility. I know a lot of people are ruling out this area simply because we had our consolidation around 9,000 here, and I don't think that that's impossible. I believe that if we come down to the 9,000 area and we show a lot of support, a lot of buying action there, that I believe that we could just continue up from there and not see 8,000. But I do like to prepare for these kind of targets just in case. I do believe that placing limit orders in this area just for spot buys, not leverage positions, is a strong way to maybe not time the market, but catch lows that you might not be able to if you were just watching this area. It's simply because Bitcoin does quickly wick down towards low regions and pick back up very quickly. So I do want to note out these two areas and show their significance here. I just want to stretch this out just a little bit so we can see this area as well. So again, the 0.5 retracement rests right along the 100 EMA here, this green EMA, and it is also at the bottom of my A zone. So that is my first expected target. Again, I'll be watching this region, and if we do break past this region, with a lot of conviction, then I do think we can make it down to the 618 area as well. Which this is a weekly chart, but maybe around that point, depending on how long we're consolidating in this area again for, maybe we will have our 200, exponential and simple moving average right over there, aligning with the 618 as well, and that would, to me, just be a beautiful buy. And those things do, those areas do line up with even previous regions. As far as the 618, we could see that this ended up becoming a major resistance in this area, ended up taking us, stopping us on our way up in May of last year. And you could see that we also found support here in November, December, after coming down from our July highs. So both of these regions, and the 0.5 is also this area here, this area here. So these areas do line up, with some significant levels for myself. The 618 a bit more so, simply because these two major regions here, you can see it was our consolidation, really March, April of this year. We consolidated around this area before having a massive breakout. So the 618 is definitely a bit stronger of a region, I believe. But again, I'm going to be waiting for price action around the 0.5 area, just because I believe if we get a lot of volume from this point, that Bitcoin might not be able to make it down to that 618. I do think that a lot of people are paying attention to this bull cycle, and also trying to catch Bitcoin as low as they possibly can. So that's really why I'm looking at these two regions. 0.5 is a bit expected for me, the 8100, and then the 7100 would be kind of a low stretch for me. Anything below that, again, I'm speaking about daily, pretty much daily and possibly 12-hour closes below this area is where I'd start to get a bit fearful. And maybe just stay neutral at that point, awaiting more information as far as the chart goes. But really, these are the downside targets. And this is pretty much where I want to leave off. I do think that we're going to be ranging within this, like rainbow zone that I made up for some time, possibly even until November, December. But I do think that these two levels will hold some major significance. I am watching out for this 9100 area, just to see if we get a lot of volume from those regions. But really, again, it's this 81 and 71 area, or 71 levels that I'm looking for. Again, it would really just be a beautiful play if we can see here on the weekly that our 200 EMA and simple moving average, if they're able to come up to this area right as we're coming down to test, it would really just be a beautiful point. I actually do want to go into one more thing here, basically the traditional markets. Really quickly, I just want to mention here the S&P. So the S&P has obviously been rallying. We made new all-time highs basically this past couple months or so, and we've just been continuing towards the upside, really until September. And this is, the last quarter of the year is known as, pretty much a time for retracement as far as traditional markets go. So I wouldn't be surprised if traditionals continue to come down. As far as targets go for that, possibly the 3100 area. Maybe that's the point that we get down to. But so far, it does look like the S&P is trying to find support on this 55 here, similar to this area here. The major difference is that we had our moving averages all stacked within that area, whereas currently we have them a bit more spread out. So I wouldn't be surprised if we come down to this, possibly 3200 first to see, if we can find support in this area. And if not, then I do believe we'll come down to the 3000 area. And this would line up with Bitcoin as well, simply because right now Bitcoin is following, maybe not following 100%, but is somewhat correlated to, S&P and just traditionals in general, simply for the reason that Bitcoin is a risk-on asset. So if people are exiting traditional markets, I believe that people will be exiting taking profits on their Bitcoin positions as well. And this does relate to the DXY, or the dollar index, which to me is very interesting right now. And I really just want to point out quickly, what seemed to be a major downsloping resistance here for using the candle bodies. You can see currently Bitcoin dollar index is currently finding support really along the 21 here. Seems like today we've been able to continuously close above that point. We had a major breakout this past week or so, past couple of days or so, we were able to break out of this region. So I do see the dollar gaining strength here, which again would mean that traditional markets and Bitcoin would be going down against the dollar. And this does look like a decent reversal point for the dollar. So if we're able to maintain prices above the 21, especially if we can get a close maybe tomorrow or Friday, somewhere around this 93, 94 region, then that would pretty much signify to me that Bitcoin and traditionals are ready to take a little bit of a breather. It doesn't mean that they're entering bear markets or anything like that, but it does mean that they'll be going down against the dollar here. So really, that's where I want to leave it off. Again, those targets for Bitcoin, pay attention to that 81, 7100 zone. But really, we'll be waiting on this dollar to see exactly what happens. So thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any comments, please don't hesitate to ask. Enjoy the rest of your day.